Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of World End Economica, and Chris? I realised my tone was prickly though. I was asking what she wanted this hour. I'm sorry, I'm busy now. Do you need something? I thought she was probably going to ask about dinner or how to revise a programme or something like that. Nothing in particular. I'm sorry, I'm hanging up. Could you tell Risa how I might be coming home late this tonight? Got it, later then. She said it with somewhat odd cheerfulness to her voice as she hung up. I sighed, stuffing my tablet into my bag. I did feel a tinge of irritation when my train of thought had been brought to a halt. There was nothing wrong with Chris. I would think so, even if she had been set aside by 4 years of supporting me. I was getting a bit fed up with her childishness. I pressed the elevator call button and thought this. I continued to churn what Barton said about Avalon around my head. So when that flashed across my mind, it felt like someone struck me in the back of the head with a bat. It's the Rose party. She gripped my gut and was a taste of acid in the back of my throat. She was shy and worried about the party, so she said she wanted me to come. I hastily promised I would. I took it up without thinking too much about it. Just now, what did I say on my phone? Do you need something? I visualized Chris's face in the back of my mind. As an aching in my chest, like I experienced before. I pulled out my tablet and frankly said to call to Chris. No answer. I was a fool, betraying my expectations of others. Wasn't that one thing I couldn't forgive myself for those 4 years ago? I was too much of a fool. I tried him 3 times with no answer. I called the church. Goodness, Haru, what is it? Where's Chris? She left a while ago. Wait, did she tell you the wrong meeting spot? No. I hung up feeling a sensation with a cross between nausea and tormented regret. That's because I could clearly imagine what Chris had said as she left the church. She probably told Risa she was going to Newton City to meet me. Yet I had completely forgotten about that. Undoubtedly forgotten. There was much of a more pressing matter, but that was just an excuse. It was a pressing matter to me. But to believe that it was important to Chris, ridiculous. I called Chris once again. No answer. I became terribly worried and my tablet almost slipped out of my hands. Chris, feeling hurt, went off somewhere. I knew it was a ridiculous thought, yet I felt so worried that I might burst into tears. My right hand didn't move. Same worry from 4 years ago, the time I pushed Hagana's hand away. I hadn't grown in any way since that time. I had hurt someone dear to me once again, without realising it, without thinking it, without even warning. At that point the elevator advised, carrying a resident. He went wide-eyed looking at me, trying to say something, so it seemed choked with words. It was probably because of my face. I felt letting go, bursting into tears. Don't lose sight on what's important to me? Christ, how could I have made no progress at all? I felt really like killing myself. I ignored the hesitating resident, pressed a button for lobby instead of running around parking lot. As I took out my tablet, I rang up Eleanor. I was worried I wouldn't be able to speak properly, but when Eleanor said yes, I got through. Eleanor, there's something I must ask you. Oh yes, what could it be? I'd like you to put off a meeting with Gazanaga. Could you say that again? I got a call from Barton. He knows everything. But more than that, he said we're missing something. Saying we really shouldn't make any decisions without getting hold of it first. Haru, are you asking me to believe that? I won't stop you. It's just we need to think this over one more time. For now, let's discuss this. Where are you right now? Right after Eleanor asked that, the elevator arrived at the lobby. I get out before answering it, sighing as I walked. Central Station. Huh? So I'll explain later, but I need to go. I'm still the same as 4 years ago. Nothing has changed at all. I said that, my call ended on my end. I used my left hand to punch out Zero's number, and yet it was still trembling. How unsightly. Oh, Haru, you're going to be late. You need to say so. Where are you now? At least told me that Chris hadn't arrived yet. Or it could be that Chris had waited to the last moment for me to contact her. Where's Chris? Did she contact you? Did she get lost? I almost burst out in sobs. We just missed each other. Did Chris call out over there? No, quite a bit ago. There's a call saying she was just about to leave the church, though. Cheerful demeanour was gone from Zero's tone. I didn't have a luxury of hiding my panic. Certainly must have realised something. Something happened? I'm stupid. If Chris comes, please call me ASAP. Well sure, but hey! I only recalled Zero without hearing the last of what he had to say. When I called Chris's phone once again, she wasn't answering. Shit. I lamented moving from a chic mansion area to a motley surroundings at Central Station. Finding Chris here, with so many people, an echo was pulsing deep in my mind. Impossible. Should I pile around? Should I ask an attendant? I could hear Chris's voice on the tablet at my ears, oddly cheerful. Later then. Irritation brought me on the verge of vomiting. My stomach was in knots and feeling that caused a pain. I wandered in a crowd of people to search for Chris, even though I knew full well it was futile. I was soon out of breath, well aware I wasn't able to find her. One after a bronze statue at E.J. Rockberg. Later then. Those words rang in my ears, haunting me. Chris was smart. I don't believe she just spontaneously run away. I also knew that in my mind she was occupied by Avalon. If I explained the situation to her, she'd certainly forgive me with a smile. Of course she wouldn't. My right hand trembled. I grasped it with my left. Chris has saved me. And why couldn't I get on my own? She pulled me up. His hand once again brushed away someone more important to me. What the hell was I doing? Even if I just roamed around in here, there's no possibility of me running into her. I needed to change perspectives. Where would Chris think she'd be able to meet me? And I thought for a moment, and dove aboard a train, was completely unsure. If I didn't see her there, then I'd feel I was never able to see her again, never see Chris's face again. I headed towards that place, spending the irritating time sandwiched between multiple different individuals, when this embarked weather was terribly chilly, cold putting through my body. Rather than bounding lightly through, I was frantically scrambling my way there. It was hard to believe back there I was able to run so lightly. The city skyline had changed quite a lot. It no longer seemed like you could hop around from rooftop to rooftop. The city skyline was gorgeous but stiff, built up as if rewriting memories of the past. The fourth outer district. Now this place really has changed. I proceeded desperately on towards that long slope heading towards the place. The top of a hill where Newton City could be seen off from a distance. For one location that still remained after these 4 years. Chris. I opened that. I wasn't speaking to myself. She was at the top of a tunnel. Hunched over and cradling her knees, lifted her face slowly and flashed me a faint smile. Then she started to hunch her head down into her knees again. Right after that, she raised her head again, looking at me. Her eyes widened in surprise. Haru. I'm sorry. That was all I could say. I was about to bound up to Chris, as I had in the past, but I remembered I couldn't do that anymore. When I tried shimmying up to the side, Chris hopped down. Haru. And there guys, there's your thumbnail. That's a very powerful image. What are you doing here? Her tone was more condescending when surprised. Why would someone like you be in a place like this? It seemed like that was what she was saying. I didn't think there was anyone else we could meet. She looked away, sighing as a pure white breath spilled from her mouth. What about your work? She said that as if sulking, but regardless of searing undertone to her words, I could only take them on straight on. It's actually not doing well. It's crumpled, broken, about to fall to pieces. She looked away and spoke. I interrupted your date with Eleanor. It's not like that. I became defenceless in reply, but Chris glared at me for the first time ever. That's what it is to me. She began crying and she glared at me. Her tears seemed hot enough to let off steam. Why am I being left out? But you aren't. I wanted to save her, but I couldn't. The reason didn't matter. The results were just the way Chris had interpreted the events. I may have just got him away, but why couldn't you just tell me that? Why didn't you say anything? Why wouldn't you tell me anything? Am I that obnoxious? That's the one thing that wasn't true. I felt that, but wasn't able to continue speaking. It wasn't that she was obnoxious. Then why didn't I tell her? There were a few reasons at the beginning. But the more excuses I made, the colder they became. Put simply, I've forgotten. I just never had come to mind. I'd like you to think terrible. I know I've been away, but I still felt I wanted to be of use to you. I looked up a lot of stuff, tried my hardest my own way. You never listened. Anyways, always, just always, Eleanor. Chris slouched in a hiding face on her arms as if to hold back the tears. I didn't say anything. I knew that I couldn't. I couldn't say it. I didn't know she liked me that much. I just couldn't say it. I'd done just as Risa said. I'd kept on hurting Chris all this time. But what was I supposed to do about this? Risa said that the empathy and love were different. If so, then the outcome could only be one thing. I wanted to cry pathetically and wanted to run. I wanted to run off from a distance. Chris came to my house and helped with my rehabilitation. When the day I realised it, I avoided making my decision. Empathy wasn't love. Gratitude wasn't obligation. But choosing either way, I'd lose something. There was that fear in deciding. Both could not be selected. She looked at me. She trembled as she looked at me. I should have been frantically rushing to bring closure to what happened 4 years ago. Her Ghana was gone. Chris was right before me. I definitely didn't want to just add a pile of things I couldn't take back. Haru. Her voice began with a puff of white breath. I love you. The words I couldn't say to Ghana. I then answered, I can't. She went wide-eyed for a moment, and for a moment her face was overcome with agony, but at the end she laughed, her nose running. That's too bad. She giggled as she said that, her hand squeezing my chest painfully. Really, too. By choosing, you must lose something. That was how most of the world worked. How wonderful the world could be if you could meet everyone's expectations. But for some reason, it doesn't hurt as much as I did with stock trading. Large drops welled up and fell from her eyes. Even as she stuffed out those words, she rubbed her face vigorously on her sleeve and suddenly smiled. Stock's a whole lot rougher, so Haru. She looked at me, speaking as if she was holding back with pain. Please succeed in short-selling Avalon. If you fail, I won't help you recover you in time. She stuck out her tongue as she said the last part. I thought not having your feelings return must truly be harsh. Trading and love were likely harsh for the same reason. People love stocks who are settling down and betrayed. She mentioned stocks because she hoped other people would bring me the same sort of stuffing I just laid upon her. I was well childish, but that was how much she had loved me. That's how Chris related to her heartbreak. I suddenly experienced a rather sudden sensation of incongruity. I felt as if she was missing something important. I felt like there was something profound and incredible there. Choosing one meant one would be lost. The world couldn't support both. Stocks always betrayed the expectations of one or the other. I recalled what Barton said. We were walking with Razor's Edge. There's a big reason behind Barton thinking we needed to stop and realise that. I was right. That was what it was, of a chance. I had missed something so profound. At that moment I finally remembered that I wasn't the only person in the world. Oh right. That's right, Haru. I suddenly pulled out a deep thought. When I looked at Chris, she was looking out at Newton City as she wiped her tears. There's one thing I want to ask you. What is it? If I were to tell you I'd held an important clue to your plans, would the answer you gave me change? She asked a question to which she already knew the answer. No, of course not. I said that, but added this, probably without even hesitating. She scowled and gave me a chuckle. She wasn't putting on a bold front, but was rather truly laughing happily. I'm really glad you said that, that's a relief. But you wouldn't trade. Huh? But of course I knew exactly how you felt. I'm glad you actually told me truthfully. So I really wasn't thinking of telling you, but... Oh, please, I think I know what she's about to say. Chris said that when looked at me. I've tried to tell you so many times. You're just always so busy with Eleanor. It's fine. I'll just find someone called up at Luna City University. Looking at a roadside tree, she held her skirt and hopped up on a tree red tunnel. After grabbing her bag and coming back, she said all this as if nothing at all. You're looking into Avalon's illegal activities, right? Well, that's pretty simple. Huh? Avalon sales are like the output from the energy exchange market. I didn't comprehend the context of what she was saying. Chris walked away briskly, saying this after putting some distance between us. I did a bit of research into accounting. It looks like when the seller and buyer are the same, there's a method of increasing sale numbers. That was their trick of buying and selling the empty lot generation station. Seller thought, wow, the creators of the market can just do what they please. Because, well, they could just buy from a seller and sell it after buyers. And that would be, depending on how you put it, the same action as stocking something and selling it, right? book balancing, I think. With buyer, seller and intermediary all yourself, and you're free to mess with numbers all you want. I held my breath as Chris explained this. I literally was not breathing. If you're both a buyer and seller, you can put out a profit from balance as much as you want. I had a feeling when I looked at the numbers and they matched up perfectly. I don't think you could say that's a coincidence, so I think that's where it's showing off from an energy exchange market to everyone. So there'd be more people, and so there'd be more output. Then just as they were pretending the sales were increasing, they could just fake all those profits made. She spun around, speaking with a hearty grin. I bet you're thinking I'm sure glad I kept you around as a friend, aren't you? I responded to Chris, who was looking awfully grown up, probably because she was so far away. You are a friend. Lies as always. She said that and began walking off. Haru. When she realised I hadn't been walking, Chris turned around and called to me. Instead of walking, my steps were heavy. The tablet inside her bag was heavy as lead. I should have taken out my bag and relayed the situation as Chris told me to Eleanor. Putting this vacant art generation station together, words wouldn't be the same as able to ignore how much Avalon had been doctoring the numbers. At the very least, Gazaniga would act. If so, the media would take this up. The intimidating profits would change suspicious profits, and people would turn cold to them. If that came to pass, and the stocks of the moon wouldn't be a signifying reality. A sudden plummet would be feasible. This world was harsh on fallen kings, and just as beating Susie wound his brains out, they'd probably do the same to Avalon. Could probably easily imagine all this playing out as a state unquestionably this isn't a simple fantasy. However, that wasn't just a single prediction on only one of many outcomes. 4 years ago, I'd been seized by my own results and lost sight of what was truly important. It was similar to a story Risa told me about God. I always might be able to see God on my side, even if I couldn't. That could also be said of a Grim Reaper. In stock sales, you always had another player. I've forgotten that. Forgetting compared short selling, Avalon and covering illegal activities. That would be signifying that stock prices would drop, but profit-bearing short selling would succeed, meaning the buyer would post losses. You bought stocks at your own risk, so posting losses were inevitable, right? I remember the explanation from Avalon's headquarters that was certainly what Barton had been talking about. Our employees invested pensions back into their company stocks and managed them. That just went to show that they understood it was the most wonderful choice I can make for securing retirement. Even Avalon was evil. The people working for Avalon were, by and large, without fault. Even if that wasn't the case, those strikes of Zelga people should still be in Avalon. Causing crashing their stock would also mean bankrupting them. And even if not, we were to ruin Avalon, it would mean leaving lots of people stranded in the wayside. I finally understood what Barton meant by being unexpected. 4 years ago, I fought to protect those in the reality district. And how about now? I was fighting for Eleanor's justice so that I could reclaim a fragment of my past from 4 years ago. Via a method that has grown over a few thousand or even tens of thousands of people's lives. I fell to my knees in the middle of a street, hurling up in the contents of my stomach. Chris rushed up and called out to me. I couldn't hear those words. I couldn't hear it because there was some kind of ringing in my ears. Why? How could the world be this cruel? Was it even incapable of performing simple justice? This shitty world should just vanish. I cursed as I looked at the vast reaches of space. This land that even God had given up on. This pursuit of justice itself had been solid and evil. I wanted to close my eyes and sleep, abandon thought and trust someone else with deciding. Please stop shaking me. Please don't try to wake me up. Please put me back in that evacuation room I holed up in 4 years ago. I prayed this. When I looked up at the sound of my name, it was the face of a girl who'd been supporting me for the last 4 years. The face of a girl whose hand I didn't take. Even so, why did I still cling to her simply because times are rough? That was how the world worked. Repeating irrevocable decisions, producing irrevocable results. Irrevocable. But still needing to move forward. Hagana came to mind. Her expression seemed to say that nothing good ever happened in her life. There probably hadn't been anything ever good. At the mercy of fate, always ending up at the short end of a stick, and severely blaming herself. Yet Hagana still did what she could as well, she could, that's why I didn't reach out. In my word not to refute my past, I know what path to take. Chris had said it was embarrassing to show her stock trading data. It was embarrassing because it meant showing her own decisions. They're all irrevocable. It was so embarrassing. But one needed to look back to them to move forward. One needed to look back at them not to repeat the same mistakes. If so, what should I have looked back on? What should I have learned? How should I make my own decisions, not mistake those whose hand I should continue holding? Haru. I'm fine. Sam returned to my world where I clasped on Chris's hand as desperately as I stood up. I was not alone. I just had something on my mind. She looked at me with a faint smile. I spat out that sour taste on the street and grinned, baring my teeth. But Terence, I was saying... Huh? It's a waste of time to think when you have no good ideas. I was mostly supported by Chris's shoulder, but I somehow managed to stand up by myself. I waited 4 years and need to walk. But to where? I looked forward and spoke. To 4 years ago. I then took out my tablet, feeling sorry as I ignored the call history from Risa and Soro, and pulled out a number. I called it, and it went through quickly. But to who? I'm on my way over. The person on the other end was silent for a while. The reply was short. I'll be waiting. The call ended with that. Afterwards, after this, there would be truly a clash of philosophies. I would certainly also launch desperate counterattacks. But having come this far, it felt as though it didn't matter whether we toppled Avalon or not. What did matter was that I used all I had to do with everything I could. Going forward in my beliefs, I made decisions of a moment. Wasn't that enough in this despicable world? I flipped my tablet, calling up the Knights of Steel. Eleanor. Yes? Sorry for the wait. She went silent for a time. It could have been that she was angry. Yes, then. Would it be fine to explain the details tomorrow? I've gotten some great ammo, but it'll take time to put it all in order. That being? It's true. I have no reason to say no. I should wait for tomorrow. I shall contact Gazanaga as well. Thank you. I was about to hang up, but then... Oh, Haru? Yes? I was a bit thrown up, given a pause as I responded to Eleanor. But she said nothing, and finally shuddered. Tomorrow, then. I took a deep breath and answered her. Yeah, tomorrow. When I hung up, Chris's shoulder I was leaning on glared at me as if I was an enemy. Sinking to her shoulder from that gaze, I flicked my tablet writing in the church. Haru, you! A shouting burst from the receiver, sounding loud enough to break as I pointed at Chris without thinking. When Chris replied with Risa, another burst of shouting exploded. Before the storm passed, I pulled the tablet back over to me and spoke softly. Risa, I think I'll be leaving the church. The shouting ended there, and Chris looked at me with a shocked expression on her face. I was about to continue speaking into a tablet, but instead I turned to Chris. Chris, it's not what you think. What? I gave one of my smiles in response, then focused back on my tablet, and said, I think I can find her Ghana. Was he calling Barton? The absolutely very first word to tell me back for the first 4 years. There was no first step I could take other than this. Goodness, really? When I bake an apple pie, can you put Chris back on? Okay. When I passed it over to Chris, I heard Risa's voice saying, you can hit him. She giggled after explaining some words to Risa. She hung up and gave it back to me. I'll come over tomorrow and hit you. I tried to give a shrug, but being held up by Chris, I couldn't. People might become tangled up by their past. There's nothing that can be done except to press forward. I looked up at the moon sky. This world wasn't smooth sailing. We had to keep pressing forward, as long as we had these things precious to us. Even if it happened to be at World End. Oh, is that really the end of it? I've just started another episode. I'm actually tacking this onto the end of the last episode, depending on how his credits go. There may be a post-credit scene, I don't know. I seriously wasn't expecting to have this tonight. If you can read Japanese, when all those people scrolling on the right hand side of the screen there, shower them with your love. Especially Hasekura Sensei. Fantastic writing for this. Now I'm not sure if I should actually play episode 3 straight away after this. Whether or not I should do the same as I did last time and have an intermediary game in between them. I've actually got an idea for an intermediary game. I'll just go on to somebody to see whether or not we want to do that. But yeah, possible. You never know. I do try and keep Wednesdays and Sundays as almost visual novel type games, but it doesn't have to be that. I know Mondays, Thursdays, Saturdays are always through coding games. I know that Tuesdays and Fridays are always some kind of JRPG outside of through coding. Spicy Tales, fantastic writing on this. Is there a post? But it sort of is a post. But it's literally just a single frame. Now back to the intro of a game again. And now we have a CG mode and music mode as well. See, I'm actually going to be tacking this on to the end of the last episode, so I'm actually going to cut out a bit of content so that it goes straight from one bit to another one. So if there's a bit of a jump about 5 minutes ago, you know why. This has been World End Economica, episode 2. Like I say, I've got some ideas what to do next with this this point in the schedule. I won't make it too long because I do want to get to episode 3 of this as well. But let me know in the comments what you thought of the game. If you want to buy your own copy of World End Economica, I'd definitely recommend it. It is on Steam. This is probably going up towards the winter sale, so probably in the winter sale, so buy it then. Or buy it before winter sale if you really want to play it. But as ever, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.